Ok. Allora abbiamo... Ok. An extensive archaeological research has been carried out in the last 20 years by the University of Macerata over the ancient Roman site of Tiferum Maturense, today known as Sant'Angelo in Vado, under the supervision of superintendents and the local administration. The area is located along the central Italic Adriatic side in the Marche region, in the upper valley of Metauro, a few kilometers west of the well-known UNESCO site of the hill town of Urbino. The modern settlement is loaded with monumental remains, such as the Domus del Mito, which comprises 27 rooms decorated with polychrome figured and geometric mosaics, which covers around 1,000 square meters. And the Terme, with the typical elements of Roman baths, including a colonnade front, gym, and vast rooms, together with frigidarium, tepidarium, and calidarium. Moreover, in these 2 decades, the university combined the scientific field research, education, and conservation with the so-called first mission activities, with the setting up of museum itineraries and highly immersive experiential events conducted by the same experts. They are carried out in order to make the community understand that it is possible to generate a new model of cultural and economic development for the territory, starting from the attractiveness and importance of the archaeological heritage and from the true innovation linked to research. More specifically, the university has carried out every year since 2000 excavation campaigns, mostly in July, in which approx 12 students took part among specialists to gain field experience. B. Work of safeguarding to the archaeological heritage, especially the baths. C. Series of public events, conferences, and summer forums with citizens. D. Graduation texts and publications and dissertations. The dynamism of the approach proposed by the University of Macerata helped to overcome the initial reluctance and resistance of some administrators and citizens, creating the promises to identify themselves as a community around the archaeological landscape, transforming cities and schools in active participation around the work of the archaeologists and their outcomes. This is a slow but gradual transformation into a new vision, paradoxically made more evident precisely in coincidence with the delicate and very difficult pandemic period. Despite the understandable fears and objective difficulties of the moment, the municipality grants logistical and economical support for the continuation of excavation campaigns and related cultural events for the 2-year period 2020-21 and a reasonable commitment of expenditure for the following 2 years. This happened also thanks to a push from below of different social components, citizens, hoteliers, schools, and others. The strong feedback received from the base has oriented the university towards a strengthening of that public, educational, symmetrical, and syncretistic approach to and from the archaeological heritage in search of new solutions for civic engagement. Work objective has been and will be for the coming years the conclusion of the investigation activity in the thermal complex to arrive at a reconstructive hypothesis of the elevation also in 3D. The continuation of the work of safeguarding the archaeological heritage more and more with a view to a planned conservation and a constant care of the ancient vestiges that produce value over time, enhancing the receptivity of the area where the testimony of the past is immersed in a suggestive, imaginative, and heterogeneous context where there are resonant itineraries and avant-garde educational installations to be live all year round. The expression of intangible space and virtual ethnography for an extension of the perceptual plan to the general public. The generalized use of geographical information system technology, GIS, this integrated in a single environment the most common operations related to the use of the database with the geographical analysis allowed by numerical maps, the strengthening of digital communication. Within this framework of intent, a project is born for the 20th anniversary of excavation activities in Tifernum Matorense in the summer of 2021. This provides, in conjunction with the field investigation, the proposal of several public initiatives in the space in front of the same archaeological area, receiving great resonance and important response from the community. Those events are held between science and art and free guided access to the excavation site with particular regard to schools and young people. Above all, dialogical moments are organized between scientific, academic, and ecclesiastical components with administrative, socio-cultural institutions, productive, receptive realities, and citizens. The aim is to confront and discuss in a tight and fruitful way around the cultural and archaeological heritage of this territory. This is a process of fruitful hybridization of skills and an effective approach to scientific results, potential in terms of community, value and identity, repercussions on the socio-cultural and economic fabric of the city. During this meeting debate, called Monday of Archaeology, various experts follow one another's, geologists, archivists, pedagogues of cultural heritage, economists for rural and mountain development, public officials for archaeological and ecclesiastical heritage, landscape archaeologists. Many come from the University of Macerata. They make themselves available to a receptive, attentive and varied public of administrators, citizens and stakeholders for a fruitful comparison and exchange of knowledge, skills and proposals. They are not consultative forms which only aim to capture consensus. They are hybrid forms which involve in the co-production of new knowledge and different ways of seeing, thinking, acting. In short, a network of men and things that even in the difficult historical conjuncture can contribute, we believe, to generate in the community the idea of a restart. This can be started from the attractiveness of the archaeological heritage and the flexibility of the dialogical, syncretistic, and symmetrical approach, as well stated by Timothy Webb Moore, archaeologist at the University of Colorado. The archaeological engine guides all these associations, mixing human beings and things in interconnected networks that go far beyond any idea or meaning that privileges the notion of heritage. The meetings of summer 2021 has a positive response from the citizens. Among the various events, the meeting dedicated to teachers held by colleague Brunelli is an opportunity of start a network of collaboration between the schools of the territory and the academic experts of the University of Macerata. In September 2021, in fact, the school district, including primary and middle school of 3 areas of Sant'Angelo in Vado, Mercatello sul Metauro, Borgo Pace, seeks the involvement of the University of Macerata to implement with academic experts the project The History Around House. It is aimed at pupils of primary and secondary schools. It's aimed at discovering the life of Roman children in the ancient Tifernum Mataurense. The project is underway and sees the participation of 3 classes of primary school and 3 classes of middle school for a total of 120 boys and girls. The students have already participated in 2-1 lessons with their colleague Brunelli. In the next appointments, the students will attend to online lessons on the importance and the methods of archaeological excavation held by collaborator students of our university. They will visit the museum and the deposits together with our collaborator to closely observe ancient finds related to childhood, such as toys and tools from the school world. They will make facsimile reproduction of the finds. They will stage a small representation in which they will illustrate their work to the public on the city and tell the daily life of Roman children. Will participated in a European Heritage Days in September as guides. Archaeology can therefore be the key to the dialogue between cultures and to the sustainable rediscovery of the territory. Through the story of the minor archaeological sites, in fact, it is possible to promote the discovery of territory, focusing on an economy that is good for everyone. Talking about sustainable archaeology means addressing many facets, not only historical and cultural, but also environmental, social, and political. It is a broad and important discourse for the future of our territory and our planet. This is the basis of the collaboration between the University of Macerata and the schools of the territory, has become the basis for the 3-year course of engagement of the archaeological heritage of a sustainable type that is, say, participatory. It is, in fact, realized by the same citizenship through schools, teachers, students, and their families. The hope is that with this project we can give life to a more modern notion of heritage understood, not only guarded heritage, but valued by the community and for the community. Now, about the starting ideas, the teaching strategies, and the learning objectives of the project, I'm pleased to leave the floor to my colleague. Thank you.
Thank you, Emanuela. As you can understand, sorry? It is not easy to summarize the great work that archaeologists under the supervision of Emanuela have done in these 20 years. But it is clear that after a hard work of archaeological excavation, the last decade, a new valorization season has begun. So this project is the fruit of this development. I'm going to share. Sorry. Okay. Okay. Can you see the presentation? Okay. As mentioned by Emanuela, this project was born following the reaction of the citizens of Sant'Angelo in Vado after the public lectures organized by Professor Stortoni, the Archaeology Mondays, which have been organized in summertime when the excavations are open. Oh, sorry. Oh. Excuse me. Okay. Some professors have been invited by Emanuela to talk to citizens and to share their expertise. And in my role as heritage educator and and designer of educational programs of at the University of Macerata and in the Paolo and Ornella Ricca Museum of School History of the same university, I proposed some ideas to an educational exploitation of the archaeological heritage in the direction of sustainable education and sustainable archaeology, as mentioned by the colleague. Here you can see the missions of our museum. As a consequence, I presented as a first model to follow, as a starting idea, a workshop which we experimented in the previous years, and especially focused on the history of ancient Roman school. The title is At School with the Magister Plagosus, the abusive teacher, the flog teacher. And as you can see, this is the presentation. The object of this workshop was to build a connection between the school culture of today and the school culture of the past, of the Roman past. Actually, the school reality is closer to the pupils because is their daily dimension, it coincides with their daily school life. So it is easier to create a meaningful collection. But what we try to have children do is to carry out a reflexive observation and a comparison between the difference and the identification of continuities between school cultures. The same, this idea, based on the comparison between two different school cultures, was positively received by teachers of Sant'Angelo in Vado. I proposed in particular 3 themes: the day of Roman pupils, the Roman classroom and its arrangement, furniture and tools, and the time for recess. As you can see, these are topic moments in the day of a child, today as in the past. For the project History Around Us, teachers and professors of primary and middle schools have developed this macro theme, the daily life of Roman children in the ancient Tifernum Mataurense, so building a close connection between their own heritage. And this macro theme is split into 2 sub-themes: Roman toys and games, dedicated to the 5th grade children, and Roman school life to the 1st year of middle school. Okay. Activities. Emanuela has already outlined the first activities I carried out at these 2 introductory workshops, with the aim to provide detailed information about the school of the past. But even though the presentation was held online due to the pandemic emergency at the time, we used, after the agreement of teachers, we applied an interactive modality. The presentation was based, that is to say, that the presentation was based on the presentation of pictures of iconographic sources, such as frescoes, bas reliefs, statues, and others. And in order to make children reflect and identify, as I told before, continuities and differences between the culture, or the analysis, the reflective observation of these sources, accompanied by a synthesis of the message that we derive from the written sources, was led by stimuluses offered as questions, the so-called good questions. We asked, in other words, we invited pupils to analyze pictures, to observe objects, and to identify objects and tools, and try to infer their function and their use in the daily routine of the Roman school children, as you can see. This methodology allowed to carry students into the dimension of the inquiry-based learning, which is, if we think about it, which is the typical dimension of the archaeologist's work, and in particular of the experimental archaeologists. Questions like, how is this waxed tablet built, in your opinion? What size this school bag was compared to the modern ones? How can we cancel the waxed surface with the stylus and other questions, stimulated children in an interactive dialogue, and in particular provoked the search for answers by themselves, and especially by carrying out first-hand experience, in particular the realization in first-hand of replicas, as Emanuela mentioned, of the object seen in the pictures. The same methodology has been used with the lessons, the workshop about toys. The second activity was focused on the work of the archaeology, and the first aim of this workshop was not only to instill in students the awareness of the archaeological work as a preparation for the museum visit to the museum and the visit to archaeological excavations, but we aimed at bringing the young closer to archaeologists in order to change the people's attitude toward these professionals who each year come to Sant'Angelo in Vado and work in summertime, instead of perceiving as an extraneous presence. We wanted to instill the idea that archaeologists are a vital part of the community and able to interact and to work together with and for with the community. And now to work with and for the schools as well. I'm not able to, okay. The following activities, the project started in February and will end in June. The following, as Emanuela told, they will visit the museum and they will see, after seeing objects through pictures and photographs and other graphical representations, finally, children will see in first person and directly the artifacts, the original artifacts, which have been discovered in the archaeological area of Sant'Angelo in Vado. In fact, the museum and the archaeological deposits located in Sant'Angelo preserve extraordinary objects such as a metal stylus, a fragment of a waxed tablet, 2 clay dolls, and a third doll, but which was found in fragments, various knuckle bones, game pieces, stone base for playing tic-tac-toe, and spinning tops. Emanuela and I planned together with teachers this moment in the middle of the project, because in this way, after reading and after observing objects, the phase of recognition of objects will become more significant and more meaningful for children. This occasion will be this activity, as Emanuela told you, children are asked to build replicas about the object they will see, but they will be invited to valorize this object and their heritage through different activities. The first is building of replicas. The second is the creation of stories about Roman children written by pupils of Sant'Angelo in Vado themselves. They may choose tools through which realize this storytelling, that is to say, through virtual exhibitions, digital storytelling, in particular, for example, by using the stop-motion techniques to realize object animations. We are talking about, as already mentioned before this in our intervention, these new generations already possess skills in creating videos. So this is for them, this is a privileged means to self-expression, and to communicate a message. For this reason, we suggested these different tools. The third activity consists of writing a script for a theatrical event, which will be held by schools and in collaboration with the archaeologists working in the excavations. It will be held in June and offered to the citizens. So this will be a public event through which children will be called to play the role of heritage interpreters, as you can see, and overall as heritage advocates. They will ask directly to their reference groups of peers, of family members, of friends, with the aim to help create awareness for the protection, preservation, and promotion of their own cultural heritage. I'm going to conclude. This project has been approved as a 3-year period project, which gives us many opportunities to enlarge this project, to implement new directions of educational exploitation of the heritage. As you can see, we aim to develop new thematic projects, to extend the project to other local schools of other grades, and types, to build a network with the existing events in the area, food festivals, living history events, creating a network including schools as well. Emanuela told you that children will be given the opportunity to take part into the European Heritage Days in order to share the expertise they have built in this during this project. And finally, an important development is to enhance the heritage and the touristic promotion of this territory. We want to actively involve, in fact, other stakeholders, such as cultural associations, local business, and the trade association. Actually, these stakeholders have already asked to participate in the creation of events, just in order to develop, to promote their territory, and to create an economic valorization, exploitation of the heritage, as well as cultural and social, in the direction of educational tourism, as well as creative tourism, volunteer tourism, around the focus of the extraordinary archaeological heritage of this town. To conclude, how archaeological heritage, education, and education at schools, communities, and territories can be linked under the umbrella term of sustainability as you already mentioned, sustainability has multiple meanings. It is really an umbrella term. We wanted to refer to the 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda and its 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And in particular, we refer to the two goals that you well know, the quality education goal 4 and in particular the target 4.7.7 in order to ensure learners acquire knowledge and skills needed to promote sustainable development. So an educational action of quality for territories and communities. But also the 11th goal, make cities inclusive, safe, resilient, and sustainable, and the target 11.4, protect and safeguard the world's cultural and natural heritage. In this framework, we believe that a stable incorporation of the law, as we wanted to achieve with this project, the stable incorporation of the local heritage in the curriculum of Sant'Angelo in Vado's schools means using the heritage, the local heritage, in a sustainable way. Archaeological heritage is of Sant'Angelo in Vado is a nearby heritage, is a nearby resource full of potential which only need to be exploited. And this cultural project intends to strengthen cultural awareness and civic responsibility of the community in the meaning of the service learning approach, in order to combine a student learning in a way that improves both student and the community as well. The second, but not least, aim is to empower local communities as advocates and responsible for their own heritage. Citizens are the true custodians of their heritage. When they become aware since the young age, when they become aware of its meaning for their own identity, citizens can offer the best contribution and, as already mentioned, good ideas, alternative options to implement a sustainable development, that is to say, respectful of the territory and the heritage. As the colleague Stortoni underlined, a sustainable archaeology can precisely offer models of heritage management. Sustainable archaeology in the meaning of community archaeology, in which schools have and must play an active role just in this direction. This is the last, I think that I can conclude here my presentation. If you have questions for me or for my colleague, we can answer together in order to, if you need to clarification or if you have, may I stop? Sorry, I have many windows. Yeah, many windows. Okay. Yes.
So thank you very much, Emanuela and Marta. It was very impressive, this project. Let's see if there are any questions. I noticed Ahmed had one, but now his hand is no longer up. Oh, yes. Ahmed?
Yeah.
Okay, hello.
Hello. At first, thanks for this presentation and for Emanuela and Marta. Do you have any programs to look for ancients in Iraq? Because there are research teams from the world, from Canada, Germany, France, and America. Also, a student and for some student in PhD and masters, and they are looking for the ancients in Iraq. Do you have any programs for from your university in Iraq, for example? Thanks a lot.
Marta, your mic is switched off.
Yes, I am asking to my archaeologist colleague because she is the expert. Do we have abbiamo Yes. Yeah, my colleagues is saying that in Iraq we have Macerata University has no archaeological campaigns or programs. We have in Northern Africa, in Libya, and in Crete, in the Mediterranean Sea, and in Albania, but not in Iraq. I'm sorry. But if you want to come to Sant'Angelo in Vado, we have programs for traineeships or visiting scholars programs. Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Any other questions? I was really impressed, Marta, by the project. I was wondering how much hours were children involved in it, because there were very interesting different activities. It was really a process you were involving them in. How much time of their school time did it take?
Yeah, we have organized the work, and some workshops are managed by Emanuela, some by me, and some by university students and alumni of Macerata University. So archaeologists, pre-service and in-service archaeologists of Macerata University are involved. In schools, exactly the number, I'm not able to quantify an exact number of hours, but actually I know that especially the teachers in charge of arts education in primary school and professors in charge of arts and Italian, communication literacy, are the managers of these activities, because the building, the creation of replicas implies that probably all the hours of arts and image will be devoted to this activity. In particular, we have two teachers in the primary school which manage an artisan, a craft shop, a workshop of ceramic in Sant'Angelo. So they gave their availability. So I think that all the hours of arts are dedicated to this activity, and a great part of the hours of Italian are devoted to the creation of the storytelling and the script, in particular, the script.
Okay. It was a 3 years project you told. Does it mean that this is in one way or another supported by a government, or do you have any support, or is it really local? Okay.
It is a local. For now, this is the first time that a project involving so many children in Sant'Angelo in Vado takes place. So we think that we hope that in the following years we will be able to involve also the superintendency, which is carefully looking at the work carried out by Emanuela Stortoni, and in particular the superintendency, which is a ministerial branch on the territory, is particularly interested in the valorization activities and with schools and citizens. So we opt for the best.
Okay, it was very, very interesting. Okay, any other questions? Okay, then we can finish for today. Let me tell you what's on the program tomorrow. Maybe I can get you interested to participate in 2 of the other talks that will take place in this round table. We start with Anne van den Berg, who is responsible for the City Library of Leuven, and she will tell us about the conversion and the renovation of the building where nowadays the City Library is located. It's a protected building. It's a Henri van der Velde building, and so they worked on a sustainable way, and sustainable in the different meanings of the word, to make this building to make it ready for reuse. So also they worked together with the school, the former school that was located in this building. And then afterwards, the ICT representatives of the school here come to tell us about digital transitions in educational institutions. How can we create there, amongst teachers, a more sustainable progress? So we hope to welcome you tomorrow. I wish you a nice day for the rest, and a good lunch, because we're all hungry. So, and hopefully we see each other tomorrow. Bye bye.
Thank you very much. Bye bye. See you
Bye
tomorrow.
bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.